I sat before that volcano. That's where I was going for my counsel. And she said to me, get used to this. The whole planet is going to be moving. You're going to be forced to find out who you are because the rest is an illusion. This is a collective awakening now. This isn't like a Buddha here and a Buddha there and a Christ here and a Mother Teresa there, whoever you relate to as a guru. We're all going through it now. So we are in those prophecies now for the collapse of one world to another.
Guy here, welcome to my Let It In podcast, and I welcome back the beautiful Suraj Holzwarth, White Eagle Medicine Woman. This podcast is incredible. We get into the conversation about what the hell is going on in the world, or the collapsing of the old world, and ultimately the remembrance of who we truly are. It's a fascinating conversation. It goes deep and it's very heartfelt and beautiful. You could probably dissect this into two parts of the conversation, and we also get into a methodology she's been studying for 7 years that she wants to bring to the world as well, which is amazing. I hope you watch the whole thing. It's powerful. If you're listening to this on YouTube, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments by hitting the subscribe, share, a like, or sharing this with a loved one or friend. This continues to help get these conversations out there, and it's a way of supporting me on the channel as well. And of course, let me know where you are in the world. As always, I'm moving around the country, moving around the world with our retreats and our events. There's links below in the show notes. Yes, we will be in Tasmania. Yes, we will be in New Zealand. Yes, we are coming to Croatia. And yes, we've got a retreat in Australia in September as well, because our June one has sold out. Anyway, by the time this goes live, I've talked enough. Enjoy this podcast. Much love from me, and I'll see you soon. Suraj, welcome back to the podcast, my lovely. It's so wonderful to have you back on the show.
It's good to talk from Alaska to down under.
I know. And I get goosebumps every time I think about Alaska. I don't know why. I've never been. And I think I might have even mentioned this last time, but I just that the air, the mountain range, the greenery, the oceans, the lakes or whatever, I just like, it sparks something in me. And I have to follow that. I will do.
You have to follow it, bro. You said it last time, and I have the perfect thing at the end of the summer for you. And we live at the ocean. We see all the glaciers from here.
Oh,
we're the highest building in Homer, so you can all wild up here. So
I love it. I could just see me in a big beanie and a big woolly cardigan or something, and just sipping hot cocoa. It'd be wonderful. Anyway, I want to ask you, like a dude, because many people won't be aware of you, and I want to introduce you to more listeners. And that is, if you were at the intimate dinner party right now and somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? What are your passions? How would you answer?
I'm a bumblebee. I'm a little bee that hovers around and pollinates all different projects in consciousness, and with people, with land, with whatever needs pollinating. And I love the honey, it's the sweetness that I feel when I'm creating that pollen, and going around. And yeah, that's my medicine. A medicine woman, teacher, healer, musician, artist.
It's beautiful.
Lover, friend.
I am doing my very best to spread the pollen, if you like, on the planet.
Yeah.
Through my own being, through the podcast, and through the work we facilitate here in Australia and around the world. And we had a nearly a 15-minute conversation off air about where the world is at this moment in time. And I would love to get your thoughts upon it and what comes forward to you, because there are many people saying we're going into oblivion. There are many people saying we are going into a higher realms of consciousness, that the frequencies are shifting on this planet, is forcing us to look at ourselves. What do you feel we're at, and where is this going? I don't want to throw you with too many questions, but what can we actually start doing about it?
Okay, so we are in both. The world we know is collapsing. So that is true. And why it's collapsing is it's because it's not real in our inner world. It's our projection. So we have to get in touch with who we are in this process and not what's happening. It's a childbirth. Let's just say it's a birth, right? You're in that birth canal and the walls are being squeezed. It's dark. It's uncomfortable. You were in a warm, cuddly womb, and now you're being constantly. I was just in front of Pele, Hunamea, the goddess of the volcano on the Hawaiian Islands. We've had 20, as of today, 20 eruptions of the volcano since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
And I sat before her every single one I could get up there for. And the last one I was up there for, 16, was 1,500 feet in the air, okay, standing in front of that fire. And she said to me over and over in my time up there, in my meditations, that this is what we have to get used to. Grounding to liquid fire, she said. Grounding to liquid fire. And, you think about childbirth, and the moment a baby's head crowns, they call the ring of fire. And isn't that interesting that geologic ring of fire is also called that? So, and the grandmother said over a decade ago, when we were touring the world in Australia, everywhere, kind of not warning people, but getting people prepared that this ring of fire was going to go, and we were going to go through that birth canal. Grandmothers said it over and over again. They were grandmothers of the new millennium, midwives at the ring of fire. And now we've got all the volcanoes moving and shaking and everything's happening. Biblical prophecies talk about it too. So we are in those prophecies now for the collapse of one world to another. And that is important. Do you say, when a woman's giving birth, of course, if you landed here from another planet, you'd say, oh my God, what's going on in this hospital room? I mean, this is awful. This woman's screaming her head off. And we don't know that the greatest miracle was about to begin, birthing life. And we are in that birth canal, and we feel uncomfortable in it. But it is exactly where we need to go. And what's pulling us through is only one thing: our light. And if you don't know who you are, then you are going to find out in these times. You're going to be forced to find out who you are, because the rest is an illusion. This is the only thing you've got. And it's going to take the outer world, because now we've got false facts constantly. The Facebook, it's just continuous made up stories. How are we going to know how to navigate? Who are we going to trust? Our relationship with the divine. That's the only thing we've got. It's a crucifixion. If you're a Christian, you're getting crucified along with Christ. And what did he do? He woke up. He got laid in that tomb, and 3 days later, he woke up and transcended it. And this is a collective awakening now. This isn't like, a Buddha here and a Buddha there and a Christ here and a Mother Teresa there, or whoever you relate to as a guru. We're all going through it now.
Do you feel it's accelerating? This
Absolutely.
This waking, and what do you feel? Because I'm fascinated by this topic as well, because we're not encouraged to be connected to the land and connected to nature and connected to the divine authentically. I know I certainly was raised with no kind of guiding principles around these things, and had to go and, through my own pain of birthing, discover them myself, and which I'm very grateful for now, because it really allows me to lean into the beauty and the peace and the gratitude that I have in life, because I've felt the opposite emotions to them for such a period of time. But if it's accelerating, how do we kind of, where's it gonna, I'm trying to think of the right question for this, because I see many people suffering, many people are in trauma, they don't even know they're in trauma, so then they're put in a very different lens, and you can, like you said, you can find a narrative to meet your emotion, because there's so much information out there, and then continue to feed that emotion through that narrative that you choose to find, and it becomes your reality. What's it going to?
Oh, so well said, brother. So well said.
Yeah.
So you got to choose the narrative. Yeah.
So we got to choose the narrative. So how are we all going to end up there? Do you think like the world is going to split? Do you think that we're able to live harmoniously in this beautiful, peaceful life while others are in pain? Or do you think the whole world's going to go there? Like, how do you kind of see this narrative moving towards?
I do feel that, no one is special and no one is privileged in this. Yeah, it's an initiation. I spoke about this last time we were on the thing. Our native people don't say, I'm a victim of this big story. No, I'm an initiate. I'm being initiated. And it's taking me to another quantum level of my capacity, of my courage, of my narrative. You're getting to have it. It's, I mentioned here, you put your finger in the socket, it's at 110. You're going to get a little zing, but in Australia, it's 240. If you don't work with that energy, and the frequency is going up. So the, the circle between intention and manifestation is so quick. So you do manifest the collective reality that you want to put your attention on. And there's so much media helping to feed that narrative for you. Our elders say, you want a connection with the earth? Just go out and put your hand in a river, or go, lay with a tree for a while. I get my direction from the earth. I sat before that volcano. That's where I was going for my counsel. And she said to me, get used to this. The whole planet is going to be moving. People are going to be migrating. The plates are moving. Get used to it. It's not going to settle into the new earth or whatever you vision that to be for a while. Get used to change and movement. And that takes the identity and has to, because everything's changing. I want to attach to that. No, I want to attach to that. And it keeps changing. It's very difficult because we're attachment oriented instead of bringing the energy back inward and watching the movie, being a witness, which is at the root of all Eastern spirituality, many spiritualities, is being able to be seeing our lives as that movie and knowing that we are not what we're identifying with. And I didn't have this happen to me easily. You know that. I shared that last time. My daughter died. I'm only 3 years out. I'm in over the top initiation. And without my ability to communicate across the veil, which we all can communicate with all life. It isn't a specialized person. Oh, you're a shaman, or you grew up in that. You're Mother Nature's son, I'm Mother Nature's daughter. We are here as children of the sun, as we've been called in many indigenous cultures, children of the sun. We have always had guidance. We've always had communication with all life. And there's one truth that goes through every spiritual text. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. So it's your birthright to know. But I don't mean knowledge and facts out there. I mean knowing. Deep in our knowing. Our gut knows. The salmon knows how to go up the river. The birds can all fly in unison together without any talking. Imagine that. Like we'd be bumping into each other. That harmony. And we just need to sit with that within ourselves. And we're just da-da-da-da-da-da on those phones, right? We're just engaged in the matrix of it all instead of going inward. And I think if you haven't experienced your light and you go, oh, that's all nice in philosophy, but I don't know that from my core, then make that your intent to call that in. You can't make that happen, but you can call it in. And this very well may be the initiation you called in. Then I called in. Would I ever think that I called in my daughter to pass? That's out of my mind. But spiritually, I almost died in 2019. I had 21 days in the hospital and several surgeries. I didn't really die that day. My ego never completely died through that experience. But when my daughter died, I died. Everything that was my ego and my story of who I am in the world and what I'm doing and where I live and my culture incinerated. Is that bad or is that good? In the beginning, it was all bad until I could figure out what I was being asked in this initiation. Why did I call this initiation into myself? And my communion with my daughter across the veil helped me to start to understand and go and ask for that and say, okay, take me. And then I shared with you last year, a year and a half later, I had an awakening. It took me a year and a half to die, like just everything, my mission. I was so on purpose. I toured the world with such intent. You ask anybody who I am, they're like, she's a force. She knows what she's doing here. She's got her sacred purpose. And everything was incinerated. And to participate in the dream without attachment to it is what we're being asked, to know ourselves. And yes, you can say, it's horrible out there. It's horrible. We may be replaced by AI, and it's on and on and on and on. We could go on. We don't yet know that we might break out of the egg. The egg of our illusion. And humans do need a little bit of encouragement to do so. And, you look at all the greats that you identify as God or close to God, whether it's Jesus, who literally had to be crucified. If you know the story of Amici, horrific story, like Gandhi, any of them, it wasn't such an easy path to get there. And now we're all in the story. We all said, wow, we loved these gurus. Like, how do I be like that? How do I embody that? Well, guess what? Everything else has to be taken away. That isn't real. And then once it is, you can have it back if you'd like. It's strong. But where we're going is bliss.
There is
We're going.
There is so much in what you just shared then, honestly. And I'm even reflecting on my own patterns and behaviors and thoughts around the ego and the drive and the intent. Like, when you say you were purpose driven, you were out there, you're creating change, you're doing all these wonderful things to support a fellow human and help them reconnect to see their true selves. And yet everything is then disintegrated and taken away. And it's like, holy moly, and like, why is the initiation into true surrender? Like, why do you think we come into, it's almost like we've got to explore the physical realm, the 3D materialistic, as much as we can before we realize it's never really going to serve us or fulfill us. And then the other half of the journey is back home to ourselves. And so we don't feel separate, but one with the divine, that we are divine. Like, why is this journey the journey? You know what I mean? And
Oh,
that
wow.
we're all going through it.
Forgiveness. That's all we're here for. Yeah. Forgiveness. It's big work, So the movie is going and it's so real to us because we have karma to clear. We have things that we believe we have to clear. And so everything that we see, this is Ho'oponopono now from the Hawaiian Huna. Everything we see, the mantra is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, right? That's the mantra of Ho'oponopono. So it's like, I'm sorry for misinterpreting what I'm seeing. Please forgive me for not being aware. Thank you for making me aware. I love you. And that's the crescendo, right? That's like when Christ said, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing while he's hanging on the cross. That was the moment he came awakened. Can you forgive the person that's, hammering your hand at that moment? And to me, that's when the illusion, the movie drops away. And we're here to clear whatever stories that we're looking at. Oh, it's doomsday. Oh, that Republican. Oh, that Democrat, whatever. We're here to clear that. Because then the focus becomes off the movie. The movie is just the movie. And we can love everything that we see. This is one of the Huna principles. Love all that you see. So it's testing us to just release everything in unconditional love. So that's one way to find our light, is just through that forgiveness process, that everything is love and that everything is in perfection the way it is. I'm just dealing with how it affects me, right? So I can neutralize that. And then I come back into existence and I come back into living within consciousness versus unconsciousness. And that's part of it. A child, when they're born, is awakened. How many of you have held a baby and know that's pure light? You're holding just a pure light.
Mm.
But they are not yet conscious of their awakening. And that's what we are. We're little cherubs, not yet conscious of our awakening. And it's really why we see a surge of people moving towards medicines that give you a moment of awakening. Through a plant medicine, through crystal skull method, which we're going to be talking about. Through working directly, I work directly with the apus, of the mountain spirits. You go over 10,000 feet, your heart has to be open. Direct transmission. I like those teachers because there's no blah, blah, blah of interpretation, religious, psychology, head, pure initiations. And that's where I get my initiations and where I invite other people to get theirs directly from the earth, from the medicines of the earth, direct transmission in the Garden of Eden that we were given. This is what we were given so that we could know who we were. We have receptors in our brain for DMT. We're supposed to know who we are. But we're so busy, like, being important that we've missed the boat.
Yeah.
You know, and we're rolling out more technology and rolling out it unconsciously and hoping that's the, trying to get fed, but it's never going to get it because we have to come home. And since my, quote, awakening that I had, everything's being changed in my life. My location, my relationship. I lost all family members. It's like total. And I breathe and I grieve and I go, forgive. Emptiness. For those pure moments of bliss that you speak of being with a plant, a bird, hearing its song, it comes into your heart and you go, because you're empty. You're empty. And I think this is the process we're in. And if we can choose it consciously, which we did choose it unconsciously, but if we can choose it consciously, once we are in that initiation, to not fear that initiation, because that is taking away some illusion we have about ourselves. My illusion in my relationship with my daughter in death, that I thought I really was teaching death, the greatest fiction. This is what I was teaching before she passed. I thought, I watched my best friend die in my arms. And she was a very spiritual woman. And I thought, I get it. This is such an illusion. Right? 6 months later, Spirit said, is it? And I was down on the ground. So my awakening was shallow. It had to go deeper. And I never would in a million years ask for that initiation, but somehow I did on some level. And I'd love to deny that one through and through. I would never in a million years want that. But my whole life I've asked to awaken. That's all I've ever asked for. But it's been my goal in life, I guess. And losing attachments is the way they are.
And it's scary. Like, I have no doubt people listening to this, including myself, I'm just placing myself going through your journey. And I can feel like these restrictions in me going, oh my gosh, And people listening to this will definitely be on a searching on a spiritual path. There'll be a certain kind of person listening to these conversations and content. I don't doubt it. Through all that you've been through, and I'm keen to get into the crystal skull method you mentioned in a moment. But like, what advice would you give to anyone listening to this that is craving the spirit? Like, it's like we're craving the spiritual connection. We have these experiences, and I've certainly had many along my way, hence why I'm very passionate what I do. But there's still so many parts of me that I identify with, and I kind of feel comfortable in that as well. And and it's like bit by bit it's slowly breaking down, but it also brings up, it's scary at the same time. And it's like, how do we dance with that, knowing it's all going to be okay?
Well, first, That's really beautiful. That I'm hearing that from you, you know. Your own reflection. And everyone should know that what I was asked to do is not what you're going to be asked to do. You know, everyone has their own unique initiations, but our fears are really, what are our fears? There are fears. It's a place that we don't really know who we are yet. Like, we're afraid because we don't really know who we are. That's the real fear. That's the real fear. We can say it's like survival and, you know, all these things. But the real fear, I mean, ask, and I've sat with so many people dying. The fear is that they never really knew themselves. They're going to dissolve. They're about to dissolve, and they never knew themselves. But they will instantly when they cross. And that's a universal thing that, you know, and if you don't think so, watch these beautiful NDE videos online. And it doesn't matter if they're Christian or this or that or the other. This guy was a truck driver or an electrician. He got electrocuted. Non-spiritual, but, you know, talked like a blue-collar worker, you know, no religion. Now he's like born again. You know, he's like just radiant being because he had an experience across the wind. And it really, my experience really burned another core, and then I'll address that, what you said. It burned another core, which I was raised Catholic, and, you know, I've been following Eastern mysticism, Native American. Like, I have my own spirituality from all this medicine. And I always believed karma, you know, we got to come back and finish up or whatever. And when I had my awakening, that too was a lie. It was a lie. That's based on we're not good enough. That's what that's based on. That's based on that fundamental principle that we're not good enough. And we're got to earn heaven and this and that and the other thing. And the real problem is that we don't know ourselves. That's the real sin. That's the only sin, really, is that we don't know ourselves. Because if we did, none of that would happen anyway. It's just one split second. And when Osho said this to me, or this mystic or that mystic said, it's an instantaneous awakening. And I was like, oh, how does that happen? You know, I got a long list of shit. And it happened for me that day. It was instant. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt. Not by any belief in my mind. Because I experienced myself as I am, which is nothing. And everything. And I would say to cultivate those experiences, you can't make yourself wake up suddenly. Like it's because if you can, it isn't it. Because it's a non-doing. You already are awakened. It's a non-doing. You have to be prompted out of your illusion of what isn't. That's what has to be removed. Nothing has to be gained. No goal. And like you, like me, alphas, you know, big A type A's out in the world, you know. Nothing you can do because you already are. That's what I was screaming in my bed when this happened. I was crying. I already am what I've been searching for. Like it was the biggest heyoka move of the universe. And so are you. But if those are just words to you right now, it's because there is still illusion, and there's still illusion being erased from me as well. We're here. As long as we're here, we're doing that. We're peeling more away.
Do you think as a collective humanity we will dissolve the illusion? Do you think we'll go in that direction?
Well, there has been many prophecies about this time through many thousands of years of evolution of the human species and its interaction with the star nations and that awakening process. I think we get to choose. Prophecies are prophecies. Yeah? It's like you say, we can call prophecies narratives, collective narratives. And so you can connect to the doomsday prophecy or the awakening prophecy. The doomsday is to the ego. There's a definite doomsday to the ego coming. And we're in it. It's not in the future. We're transiting it. We have been for a while. And it's just getting the temperatures heating up. And it's always the ego doesn't want to let go. And that's why I say, oh, what are you? You know, oh, I can make a list like you. I'm a podcaster. I'm a shaman. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm a bumblebee. I'm just buzzing around, you know, because I enjoy it. Because the same moment hit me, brother. I laid there going, if I already am, then is there anything to do? And my omnipotent light said, only if you want to. There's nothing to do if you don't want to. If the light, it said, only if it's in delight. That's what the light of my omnipotent self said. Well, my little self was trying to grapple that this just happened to me. Only if it's in delight. But you can't get any more or less enlightened from it. What? That severed everything that I had around earning, around I'm going to help save other people and wake up other people and all this stuff we attach to as the egos. And spiritual ego is the trickiest ego, right?
Yeah.
I'm a mega podcaster and I have a lot of influence. And, you know, we have all this going on in the world right now in our spiritual groups, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is big, you know, I'm big and I've got influence and I'm making a difference. And I was touring the world. I understand. And now I realize, wow, there was so much attachment in there. There was just so much. I didn't even know when I laid on that bed for 8 hours in it that I was ever going to do a thing again, because I learned that so much of what I was doing was for the wrong reason. And there was nothing I could do but be. So I moved out of human doing into complete human being. And isn't that what we say we are? Now, if the being wants to go and the bee wants to go and pollinate, that's just happy. But when you slow down the crickets, if you've ever heard Robbie Robinson's album, The Native American Ensemble, where they have crickets slowed down into a super, oh, you must hear it, Google it, because it sounds like a choir of angels when it's slowed down.
Wow.
And it means that all of nature's in praise, is blissed out in praise. And we are suffering so much in the ego. So if I wake up in the morning and go, I want to see that client, or I want to do this because I'm so happy to do it, then it's right. Then it's being. I'm just being me. And I've had to stop so many things and change my scheduling, everything, because I was like, wow, I'm moving from the wrong place. I'm moving. Is that coming from within? And not a need to fill myself with more importance. And that is radical. It's radical. But I've had such an opportunity to witness that through the elders, you know, where it's just, everything's just down to the root, you know, it's not blah, blah, blah. It's just being.
Wow. Wow. So, talk to me about the crystal skull method. You said it was 7 years in development. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, well, I've been a trance medium for the grandmothers and grandfathers. You can call them the star nations. You can call it my oversoul, whatever you'd like to call it. And I believe we're all antenna for larger information in the collective, because information and consciousness has never died nor been born. It exists for all of us. When we get out of linear time, we start, and the universe might be a torus field, a donut, that all time exists at the same time. Knowledge and wisdom is at our access. And I call that channeling for right now. It's just like surfing the internet on the inner planes. And if we could create the internet, we obviously are already able to do it, because we are made of crystalline as well as this little computer is. So we projected it into this that we call the internet, and I call it the internet. It's the same. It's just I go within. I don't need a Wi-Fi connection in that same way. And we all have this. The grandmothers and grandfathers first talked to me about it in Peru, which is where we're going in the fall again. It's our time that we spend in the Andes with the Kiro shamans, and doing initiations there directly with the mountains and with the medicines there. And I started to receive this information about, people have talked about the crystal skulls. And I don't know if you've read about them, or there's many books written on the crystal skulls, about these life-size skulls that were found in different parts of the world that were perfect, that were the perfect replica of the human dimensions of the skull. And, they've had scientists try to decode one of these. That's the famous one that has been found in which lived in Canada, but was found in Central America years ago. And the indigenous history of them, many Native American traditions have stories about these 13 original skulls, and that these were databases basically of other planetary systems that have human like our own, that were part of seeding this planet.
wow.
They were called in my Iroquois, in part Seneca, in that lineage, they're called the 13 clan mothers. And you can read books about the clan mothers. And they mean, if we could understand it simply, it would be like the queen of each planetary system. So, because when they did the forensics on those skulls, they were actually, they pulled them out and said that it looks like a Native American woman. Okay. So these skulls were all in the mythos and in the oral history as being, they were brought to our planet. And are they the satellites for other planetary systems? Because of course they're full crystal. And I was being told that, and I worked with those skulls for years. I traveled. Grandmother Drum has a small replica skull in it. I was activating the original skulls. I was told to do that. And I was told to activate humans with Grandmother Drum. It's a 7-foot drum that I completely channeled, that had a triple spiral matrix of crystal that would be laid into the bowl of this drum. It took us over a year to build Grandmother Drum, made of 1,500 strips of red cedar, yellow cedar, and birch, inlaid with 200 clear and rose quartz crystal, and covered with 2,000-pound buffalo hide. Okay. I mean, the hide's not the animal, was that. Okay. So I have been touring for 20 years in 20 countries and 3 world tours in Australia, coast to coast, with this medicine. And what was it about but laying people underneath it and journeying them for about an hour with their heads laid to the bowl to activate the brain and the heart. It's a matrix that I could go into in detail. People were having profound experiences under Grandmother Drum, and it was a big project to take this 2,000-pound crate that went in air, and get funded for it to take it around the world. So that was my mission for 20 years, and specifically to the Ring of Fire, to the geologic Ring of Fire. So I was in Hawaii at the volcanoes, and I was in Australia at main places that only the Aboriginal people know, that's on the east coast of Australia. I'm not even going to mention the tribe to keep them protected, but the song lines that are on the Sydney area and in that area, I'll just say, are part of the Ring of Fire. New Zealand, Japan, Alaska, the whole ring. And so that was my mission, to go and activate, because that drum also went significantly, almost a mile into the ground when it activated, that we were starting to help move open the cervix of the mother as she was getting ready to take this next launch. And I kept channeling all those prophecies to people to get them prepared for this. And then when we were in Peru, which we're going to be returning, and would love to have you all join us there, we received information about the crystal skull method. And this was, how do we, because we're all asking this question, right? We're asking, how do I experience my light, the real me? Now, that's the surge of people doing ayahuasca and plant medicines of all kinds, because they want to experience themselves as they are. And this is good if it's well guided. If it's very well guided, this is good medicine. And it will allow you to know who you are. But you have to be called. You don't just do it. Only if the medicine calls you. And this is another switch to what we're doing in life right now. You and I and all these people that have, we're selling our programs. No, they have to be ready for that medicine. They have to, when I talk to people, I said, where did you get guidance to do this? It has to be a readiness for this medicine. And they said crystal skull method would allow people that medicine without taking plant medicine. They would allow them that same experience, would open up the DMT in the brain in a way that would allow them to go through that experience consciously, not on medicine of some other kind, but they would be able to prompt it themselves. And so this is, it's taken me 7 years to channel all levels of it. And it's simple, and it's also completely not complicated, just complex. And it's how it links up to every other ancient modality. It brings together, like a map, Ayurveda. This is 12,000 years old. Chinese medicine and acupuncture, Tibetan healing, modern practices of polarity therapy and Bowen technique, and many other things that are working in the grid of the map of the body, but this takes it to a quantum different level.
Wow.
It unites them. So you'll see them all. We go, here's that acupuncture point, and this is how that grid works there. And the one key that we learned to open that in the brain and in the rest of the body is through sacred geometry. We're made of sacred geometry. So when we enhance that through the energetic processes of hands-on work that we do, and breath, those are the two things. The breath being worked from you to these points. So centrifuging it down, because there's like there's a rabbit hole to CSM, is we activate the pineal gland. Okay? And I can teach you on this how to do the first steps of it. We activate the pineal gland. What is that gland? That's the gland of light. I am the light. That's the gland of light. It's serotonin, melatonin, right? Our circadian rhythm. It's a very, very small gland. It looks like a tiny pine cone. And whoever has that has control. On the top of the Pope's staff is that pine cone. If you look on all the ancient staffs, Baracus, this one in this period, they've got the pine cone at the top of the staff. The medical symbol. What are we looking at? Two currents that run the spine that they call in the East Ida and Pingala, and they meet at the occipital point and they touch that bulbous in the medical symbol. That's the pineal, turning on the light, awakening the light. Under a bone that looks like a wing, which is your sphenoid bone that holds your head, your brain into your head. Some people think this is the real meaning of the Ark of the Covenant. That those winged beings on top of that box are the symbol of when we open the occipital point and the spinal fluid can do what it's supposed to do. Awaken the pineal gland, flood it with light. The light spills forward into your fontanelle, your baby fontanelle, where you were born. That's where there's 10 billion nerve endings that come in at your atlas. 10 billion. They hit that bulbous, the light goes on, it floods. There's two chemicals. We call it the land of milk and honey in the Bible. There's a red substance and there is a golden substance, a milky substance that gets released in the pineal, and then it floods forward into the fontanelle area, and that is the 1,000-petaled lotus. There's 1,000 nerve endings right there. That was soft when you were a baby, and it should be soft again. If it's hardened, you've lost your communication. So this is where that would flood forward. That is the enlightenment process in a very physical way, which all the Eastern mystics talk about. All of acupuncture and Ayurveda and you name it from the East talk about yoga, about this kundalini that comes up the spine and awakens us. And there is easy access ways to open that light in our own consciousness. And we've had phenomenal results with CSM. We've done 400 case studies now on people that have had sessions of it. So we have data now, and we're finally ready to bring it to the world, after 7 years and core people going through it. And we have 400 case studies that we've done. And it's teaching you how to do it yourself.
Wow.
Because you're very involved in the process.
So, question for you, how long are you working with people and the crystal skull? Is it over days? Is it over hours? Is it a session? How have you been structuring?
Session.
It's a session.
It is set up sort of in a similar way to Rolfing, where it's a series of sessions, but you don't have to. I mean, you can, or you can choose to just have one. So it's a session each week, and preferably for 9 weeks, preferably. So you go through 3 levels of it. So the first one is more gradual, and then this, as you're ready for it, it gets increased. So we have level 1, level 2, and level 3 of the method. It takes about 2 hours, the session. And then people get follow-up that they can do on their own. And, we've had everything from, we had a person with a hearing aid let go of a hearing aid after 2 sessions. We have had miraculous stories. Someone with hemiplegic migraines. It's great for OCD and addiction. We had a woman 20 years on antidepressants off after 2 sessions. Could never get off. Because when you know who you are, right? And it's all it is. It's helping you turn on the light. And I've always said, if you come in this room and the lights are off, you're doing this. Where's the door handle? Where's the light switch? But once the light is on, everything becomes evident. I never even think about where the door is. And addiction is just, feed me. And the light goes on, you're like, oh, you don't need that. You know who you are. You find yourself. And people have all sorts of issues, from depression to lack of purpose to trauma. And the number one thing it addresses is trauma.
Fantastic.
And we have to give our hats off to the preliminary that was set up for us for CSM, which is cranial sacral therapy, a great modality. They say this is the quantum next step of cranial sacral, because they were doing the same. They hold the two places, the sacrum and the occipital. And the grandparents said, the sacrum is your physical birth, the trauma of your physical birth, and your occipital is the trauma of your spiritual birth. And so to open this unlocks the trauma, because that's where, whenever we get harmed or are afraid, we pull this energy in, and that whole area is so compressed for us. And of course, we have a 10, 12-pound bowling ball head sticking out the top of our spine. So that's the other issue of it. But CSM is not done laying down. It's done sitting. You're going to be totally conscious aware. This is not you drifting off into dreamland and having a hallucination of a guide or something. No, you're in living color, sitting there, having your experience, and you're completely consciously having it. And so it's so powerful for people because they are active. We are not asking them to be passive. So they get to participate in how much they want to expand.
Wow.
It's very straightforward.
How many people can you work with at one time with a skull?
It's just one person at a time.
Oh, it's one at a time, is it? It's not like
one-on-one.
Right. So you couldn't do a group or something, or?
Well, people can do some of the work themselves on themselves, but some of the points are tricky. These are 2 points at a time. We work with a grid system, so we're not like acupuncture. We're just sticking a needle here or sticking a needle there, or we're working with 2 poles at a time, creating an electromagnetic energy, electricity.
Gotcha.
So you could do one right now. Okay. So your third eye, you could do that point. This is part of the grid. And the back of that one, which is, we call the light door. So you can hold that one and that one at the same time. Okay. And then we make a contact through the skull with our energy. We are not running any energy for people. It's very, very delicate, because if I have my fingers either here or here, wherever the points are on the skull, and then we move to the rest of the body, I can brainwash you. I'm pointing right at your pineal, your gland of intention. I have to be completely empty as a practitioner. I have to have nothing. And then I teach you this breath technique to connect my fingers. So I breathe in from my crown. I bring it right to my pineal, which above your ears, and here points right at the pineal and your crown. All of those point at your pineal. Okay. So if I do that, I say, now breathe as if you could breathe from the sun, breathe in sunlight, and then come down to that pineal and pretend you're gargling for a second. Hold your breath there, and then exhale out the 2 points that I'm holding. So you're going to make the electrical connection. You're going to bring in light, and you're going to download light, and you're going to hold it and stimulate the pineal gland. I mean, this is what ayahuasca does. It opens the pineal gland. Okay. We're going to open it. Now, the things that destroy it, we know, are Wi-Fi, glyphosate. Right? These are things that destroy. Fluoride, all destroy our pineal. This is what is the collective control the matrix. This is, all of this stuff going on right now. All the GMO, the viruses, like this is to shut our connection down so that we don't know who we are. And we're a bunch of fearful people, and it worked perfectly. They saw it, they rolled it out, and it worked perfectly. COVID worked. They got everybody believing it. Everybody shut down. They got control of everything. You can't be, if you have your pineal open, if you know who you are, you can't be manipulated. So this is your right to know who you are. And so we teach this method, and we start activating the grid. Now, the number one sacred geometry we are building, number one, the alpha and the omega, is the Sri Yantra. We're building the Sri Yantra. It is the symbol of Om, the seed sound of the universe, according to Hinduism. And you've seen it. We've all seen it. It's all of these pyramids or triangles, 5 inverted, 4 upright, with lotus flowers around them, and then a square that goes around the whole thing. We are building this in the brain. And then we're expanding that grid around the entire body. That's the key code. That's our key to this method. But it's not the only one we use.
So are you, like, I have no doubt, like, thousands of people are going to listen to this podcast, okay?
Am I ready for that?
And people are going to go, I'm sitting here like, I want to try the crystal skull method. You know what I mean? Like, because I've had, I know what it's like to have my pineal gland open. I've certainly experienced my whole body turn to sacred geometry and light, and had these experiences. They've come spontaneously. They've never been just, through intent, even though my whole intent is to evolve with this work, at the end of the day. But are you teaching it to other people? Where can people get it done?
Yeah. And like I said, we were told to channel it and teach it, to develop it in Hawaii. And we've done that every year, and for 7 years now. And what we want to put it in the hands of people. We want to teach you the method, because then you can do it on each other. Like, you can do it on yourself. But then you have the depth of all the breath work that goes with it, all of the support of neuroanatomy. Like, I had to learn neuroanatomy. I was channeling all this, and I was like, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, I'm not a scientist. So, for example, when we laid the Sri Yantra over the head, we got it, in Photoshop, we just went, okay, let's lay that there. All of the main meridians and their junctures all fell out onto that map perfectly at the apexes of all the pyramids. And we were like, oh, that's very interesting. And then when we found this point, which is the apex of one of the pyramids, and we were building that, we were told, oh, well, that's an acupuncture point, and that's your consciousness point. If the dog gets hit by a car or something, this is what you touch. You put a needle in there, or just your fingernail. You know what's behind there in your brain? Your medulla, which controls your breathing and your heart rate. And in your medulla, there's a place, and it's literally right behind our apex, that's called the desiccation of pyramids in neuroanatomy. It's actually called the desiccation of pyramids. It means where the two currents of the spinal fluid crisscross and come in from the body up into the brain. Well, in that medulla is also pyramidal cells. I'm reading this going, how is that possible that we're building these pyramids and there's pyramidal cells even in that spot? So this became clarified. So there is grounded science in this method, very grounded science. And there's grounded Eastern practices of acupuncture and Ayurveda, the marmas. These are the first 8 we were channeled were the 8 great marmas. I didn't know any of that. I have never studied that. I only got on that because one of my first students was a 40-year acupuncturist. She came when we first channeled it. And she said, that overlaps. Now, we're not working the meridians. We're working the core of the brain, the pineal gland first. Then we flood the pituitary gland.
Mm-hmm.
There's a process we do to flood the pituitary gland with light, our own light, which is the master gland, which releases all the life hormones, the longevity hormones into the body. And then at a certain point, we activate the hypothalamus and thalamus. Okay. The thalamus is like the 0 point in the brain. It's the neutral. And we do that. If you slice the brain here and looked at the sagittal side view of the brain, it's the eye of Horus. That's what the brain looks like, is the eye of Horus. And the eyeball in the eye of Horus image that we've all seen, that all represents parts of the brain. All parts of that. The eyeball is the thalamus, and we have 2 lobes, just like we have 2 hemispheres. We have 2 lobes of the thalamus. And the very center of that thalamus we call, in neuroanatomy, the mass intermedia. That's what it's called scientifically. It's an area that looks like a pupil. And they don't have any idea in science what it does. They know the brain's a relay station and the thalamus is the relay station and all this, but they don't know exactly what the mass intermediate does. And we've been given all that knowledge that lines up with all of the things. Because I said, if it's going to be true, it will be true all the way through. It'll bring together everything that already exists and then take it to another level of understanding. And not everybody's going to become an acupuncturist or wants needles in there. Like, I have a total needle phobia, so I'm never going to want needles. So how do we activate these systems ourselves? And there are 100 ways to awakening, as we know. And we found that this can be defined as quantum. Everybody wants to call their method quantum, but we can say this now 400 people later because they score themselves. We don't score them. My students have to do practicums, so they get free sessions, and all they have to do is fill out a 1-page thing. Did I improve in any way? And it's 1 through 10, mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, spiritually, 1 to 10. And we're averaging 52% improvement after the first session.
Wow, that's
Out of
fantastic.
100 people.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
And other people
yeah.
score really high, and other people say, well, that changed, but this. And then we always ask about a healing crisis. Did you have a healing crisis? Meaning something really big happened that you might think is bad, but it was like opened. And then we follow that up through the second and third sessions, and we move that whatever's going on in the unconscious, past lives come up, whatever it is, we're moving that open. But we're talking about people that aren't so spiritual and wanted to just get a session. They and my students are doing it for the first time. So if you say we had 52% improvement when all of these are amateurs doing it, then it's got something to it. And I only think it does because we're aligning to all these other sciences. And when I showed this to my kahunas in Hawaii, the first and opening sequence, which we call the beams of light, they said, we had this in the huna. They said, I think you're channeling this from Lemuria. And I said, oh, okay. And my kahuna said, I've spoken to the Maya. They had this too. this particular thing that you're doing here. So again, there's no new information, I'm just on that channel. I'm just vibrating with that channel of keeping my light on. And it's taken me a lot. It burned everything. It burned down everything doing CSM. It's what got me here.
Wow.
And it was a slow and beautiful process.
Where I'm going to have to come to a close of the podcast soon, so I just only due to time. But where can people find out more about this method?
Well, on our website, under our shamanic trainings, you'll see Crystal Skull Method. We do sessions. We do them online. We can do them remotely. We can do them when people don't even know that they're receiving one, as long as we have their permission. Yeah. My partner has been working with a young woman in Austria who's been suicidal. And she's agreed, her mother has asked Michaela to do a series of sessions with her. And we use a skull or we use a mannequin for, using that person in front of us. And she has gotten so much better that her mom still wants her to do remote sessions on her. And she's not like laying in bed while it's happening or anything. And I did the same on somebody that was in Anchorage, a best friends of mine who was in a terrible motorcycle accident and was totally unconscious for days and days and days. I did my first session. I told her I was going in, and the mother, and I said, I'll let you know when I come out. And I got a ton of information from her son. But he literally, I just texted her, I just finished. He opened his eyes and woke up. After the second session, he stood up. And he had fractured his spine. He had fractured his fingers, arms, and he stood up after my second.
How long does the training go for?
The training is level 1. Is each level is 9 days.
Okay.
And it's very because we add all the science into it. If we were just doing hands-on and teaching you the hands-on portion, but we teach you all of it. Like we allow you to see the whole. And then you can go down the rabbit hole as far as you want. We have a manual that has all those teachings in it and all those breath works that you can help people with when they are working with a specific area of the body, how they can support that in the follow-up. And so we want this. It's your birthright to have this. It's yours. It's mine. And it's been before us. It's just waited to be claimed. That's all.
It's beautiful. Maybe there's an opportunity to get you over here in Australia teaching a few of us Aussies, huh?
I have seen it, my brother. I have seen me come. It was my first country to tour in. There's a long history that I have with Australia from many lives, but it's the first country I traveled to with grandmother drums. So it might be the first appropriate place for me to go again because I activated that with the first round, and now here comes the second. So love to do it. Yeah. And it can be done either in 9 full days or 3 3-day weekends. In that modality, it depends upon what people want to sponsor it for. And then we ask people to go through a 3-month certification period where they do some practicums and before they're certified.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is the reason why I podcast. Honestly, it was just a beautiful conversation, and I love.
Oh my gosh! And we have to get you to Alaska.
I know. I'm dragging my family everywhere with me at the moment. We just got back from Bali. My son's like 17 months old now. My daughter's nearly 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm taking them to Croatia when we run our Croatian retreat later in the year. They kind of like part of my baggage.
Yeah.
As in baggage, as in suitcases, not as in heavy loads. Yes. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah. I love it. But yes, there's so many things I want to lean into. It's not funny. And Alaska is definitely one of them.
The bottom line to this podcast is choose to have called in, our kahunas say calling is our intent, feeding is the other part. So it's a calling and a feeding, our own light. That's this ascension process, if you want to call it that. I don't even call it ascension because that means otherworldly. It's right here on the ground, man. It's grounding our light is the answer, and awakening it inside of our consciousness, not some airy fairy retreat. No, it's hands-on. It's deep in our unconscious that we have to go.
Yeah.
And I'm so honored to be a midwife in that process.
Beautiful. Look, links are below for everyone with your websites and everything. You're easy to find online, but let's say your URL one more time for people so they can head on over.
www.whirlingrainbow.com, the Whirling Rainbow Prophecy and Promise, whirlingrainbow.com.
Beautiful. Suraj, thank you so much. Much love. That was beautiful.